Alright, back from break, had a bit of food, it's all tasty, so let's just kind of dive back in. So, what I need to do, let's, jeez, let's get rid of this. Sorry. Bit of food still stuck in my throat. I ate a little bit quickly. So let's make our pegs to make sure everything stays connected when it gets 3D printed. Jeez. Okay, I need to eat slower next time. And where's the center on this actually? It's a good thing to know. We'll symmetrize. Bam. Now, of course, that's not quite in the right spot, but actually it is. What do you know? Yeah, so let's just gonna drop that. Connect this all up. Let's see, anything else I want to talk about? Haven't really done much lately, honestly. Like, haven't played any more Darkest Dungeon. I want to be able to. That might be something I do Monday. It's actually Family Day this weekend here in BC. So I might use the time for that. I don't know. I don't think my family's planning anything, ironically enough, but we'll see. Either way, not a big deal. I do want to play Avian Attorney. I watched Dodger play through the first 2 cases and was actually really intrigued because there's no, like, it's not a set. Like, I like Phoenix Wright. They're good fun and solid games. But honestly, like, I find, because like you start the game off with kind of like the introductory stuff, it's pretty easy, and then you kind of start kind of like the myth arc or the main arc for the game, but then you get like a case in the middle where it's just completely nonsense. And I forget which game it was I was playing on my DS, my original DS, mind you, and I got to a case where it's all clowns, and I'm like, I don't care anymore, and I haven't touched it since. But the nice thing from what I've seen in Avian Attorney is that it's not, it doesn't lead you by the hand in the same way that Phoenix Wright does. It's not simply a case of you can't leave because you haven't found anything yet. It's you can leave, but you might not have found everything yet. So you know, and in particular, no spoilers, but in the second case, like obviously, like I've watched it, so I know what happens, and when I do get around to playing it, it's gonna be, I'm gonna know what's going on a bit. So it does kind of invalidate that, but I can see the places where, like, I can see the points where it's like, oh, okay, so if I get that done sooner, I can progress deeper down the tree and maybe get kind of like the quote-unquote real answers I need. I can progress faster than not so much that the game, faster than the game wanted me to, as much as just like I guess you could almost say it's like a form of skill gating, like, you know, to get the better quote-unquote like endings or turnouts, you kind of need to you need to play the game at a higher skill level than you would otherwise. And, you know, say what you want about kind of like what that means in terms of like, you know, locking, you know, like making it more difficult for some players and whatnot, but that's kind of really cool. So I want to pick that up. I want to play through it. Like I said, I've only kind of watched through the first 2 cases and like the very beginning of the third. And the third is actually a very, without saying anything, it's very open in terms of what your options are. So I'm not too worried about what I saw and it kind of quote unquote ruining the game, ruining it for me. So something I'll get around to. I probably won't stream that because it'd be super boring because I don't do voices. I just don't. So nothing really to watch there. Darkest Dungeon, haven't really played. I want to get back to it before I kind of like gets too far out of my mind. But overall, like because of the slightly random nature of that game, and I kind of want to, I want to be in the right mindset for it. Like in particular, oh, it's so frustrating because I'd faced one boss. I leave out any spoilers, but I faced the boss and it went okay. Like I could definitely see, like, okay, yeah, this is a tough guy and he's got some special abilities, and it's clear if I don't keep on top of the stuff he's doing, I'll get overrun. And I was like, okay, I can deal with this. This is not crazy enough to really completely like make me go crazy. But the second boss I fought, oh my, I lost an entire team of like a good like. I've kind of set it all that so that I've got a vassal at the back, a plague doctor second from the back, and then some kind of ranged class, and then like a crusader or some kind of melee class at the front. Good spread of damage, and the vassal gives good healing, and I focused on healing on them. And the plague doctor is good utility. He can hit guys in the back with blight and do a few other little neat tricks. Plus his healing, while it doesn't heal a lot, it cures things like bleeding and blight, and that can be like extraordinarily useful as you get kind of deep into these dungeons. And the boss dungeons tend to be kind of like these, there's two branches, and so you need to bring enough supplies to essentially explore both, because if you just don't pick right the first time around, what are you going to do? And you can't really prepare for the boss because you just kind of run into them in a room. If you're lucky with scouting, you can kind of see, oh, okay, I see where this is going. That says it's a fight in a room. There's not too many other room fights. Usually it's in all kind of like the hallways. So that's probably a boss. And yeah, in that sense, you can prepare for it. But if you just don't get lucky with, oops, if you don't get lucky with scouting, then you're just kind of, out of luck. And yeah, I lost an entire second team, like level 2 team that I had kind of, like I hadn't really gone all out in terms of upgrades and stuff, but I spent enough time getting these guys where I want them to be for it to be extremely frustrating to lose the entire team to what I feel is kind of honestly bullshit game design. Because the boss requires like a very particular skill set to effectively handle, but in like absolutely no way, shape, and form is that ever communicated, or even the possibility communicated. So because my team was very balanced, and on top of other bullshit that happened, it's just, I didn't stand a chance, and that was extremely frustrating, and to the point where I pretty much had to quit for the day, because it was just like, no, not like, I'm not going to deal with this, and I don't want to let it get to me, because obviously it's a game. So I just took the break, and it's like, I'll come back to it. And I've done a little bit since then, and I've kind of built up my second and even like a third team, sort of. And trying to keep my main guys, healthy and well, and without not letting them go crazy. And since then, with that second boss, it's actually been going pretty well. I've got enough people that make good teams that I can kind of keep. Like, I'll venture out with one team, come back, they'll kind of go out to their de-stressing places, and I'll take the second team and go out. So it's been going pretty good since then, but it's just that first time I was just like, no game, you're bullshitting me, and I hate you. I hate you. So that was kind of rough, but it's a game. What else has there been that I want to play? I mean, I want to play games like Witcher 3 and Metal Gear Solid 5, but my PC at this point is 4 years old, and I pretty much need to build a new one. But that's, going to be another like grand to do. I mean, essentially what I'm doing is building a new one. The only thing I'm really salvaging from this one is RAM and hard drives. So it does mean that, after I do the big upgrade later on, I can buy new RAM, new hard drives, or hard drives, and I can turn my old computer into like some kind of like workhorse, or like in particular, actually, I've noticed that when I'm painting, it's kind of frustrating because my screen and everything is like, it's just for painting. What's a good way of saying this? But basically, like where my screen is, for just working on my computer is great, but where my screen is for painting, it's completely useless. And even things like podcasts are kind of awkward to listen to while I'm sitting at the other side of the room facing the other direction. So, and my headset, while it's wireless, and that's fun, it's not super comfortable to wear for that kind of long-term stuff. So, yeah, it'd be nice to kind of have like a secondary computer I can just leave kind of in the corner and boot it up for when I want to watch YouTube while I'm painting or something like that. I've got an extra monitor from before I upgraded to a pair of TVs for monitors. I think they were 24-inch TVs. 24 or 21 inch. So it makes a really nice viewing experience. There's a little bit of tearing with stuff, but honestly, given the price I got them for and the fact that they're all in all pretty good, I'm not going to complain about it. Probably, like as a second stage to when I upgrade PC, my PC is going to be like getting quote-unquote proper or more proper equipment in that sense, but honestly, it's not a huge deal for me right now. I mean, like, it's good enough, and it's like, obviously my PC doesn't have any major issues. I mean, like at this point, it still starts up and is usable within 15 seconds. So I can't really complain about that too much. And unlike my laptop, which is starting to actually kind of really slow down. Well, that and the graphics card is dead in it, so it's kind of worthless to me at this point. But aside from like basic word processing and stuff, I mean, I could still do some 3D stuff in it, but I can't really do big files, and I definitely can't do any real, well, quote-unquote real gaming with it. So that was kind of frustrating, especially considering how much I spent on it. But lesson learned. Well, okay. To be fair, like I did spend, like it pretty much like my laptop cost as much as my desktop, and it's not as good. But, at the same time, it's like, for what it was, it's worked really well until essentially the graphics card burnt itself out or whatever. So I'm not really going to bitch and moan about that, honestly. I mean, like, essentially, like, far worse could have happened. Like I still got a good 2 to 3 years out of it, and I mean, honestly, especially for flights, I could still get a good 6 hours out of it while watching movies, which is pretty good. I mean, if I went all out and bought an extra battery, then I would, an extra 9-cell battery, I'd be able to get 12 hours out of it, essentially, but I don't think I would really use it that much. But so yeah, a little unfortunate there, and I don't know, like, I kind of want a system where I just have one desktop and that I can like plug in keyboards at like different monitors around the house kind of thing, but I don't know how you would do that. I'm not sure how you'd, like, I'm not even sure if that's possible. Like, I'm sure it's possible in a very, like, there's a way you can do it so that it works that way, but it would probably end up being pretty, like, quote-unquote hacky about it, which is kind of like, it's not so much that I think it's invalid as much as it's like it's a setup. I prefer it to not be like that, essentially. I'd rather it be like a nice streamlined system that works, but obviously we can't always get what we want, so them's the break sometimes. Shit. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so PC needs upgrades, but unfortunately before that could happen, my car needs to be replaced. Not immediately, luckily, but it could become immediately at any point. Unfortunately, on my last trip to Vancouver a couple of years ago, it decided to burn through 2 liters of oil out of the blue. So now so pretty much I had to make the entire trip back from Merritt on less than 2 liters of oil without realizing it. And so now it continuously burns oil and will one day just stop working entirely, seize up. But luckily so far, just keep adding oil to it and it's still working. So that's good, but yeah, it's gonna eventually die, so I need to replace it. That's gonna be a good, like, 5-6K, because I want to slightly upgrade. I mean, I don't buy new cars because, well, I'm not made of money, and because that's kind of just a really stupid thing to do, because you pretty much, the car loses half the value when you just drive off the lot with it. Never mind anything else that might come up, right? So I'll just be buying used, and I'll kind of figure out the rest from there. But all in all, it's not too bad. It's just gonna be one of those things like, damn it. Really frustrating. It was really frustrating to figure when I learned that after the trip. I was like, God damn it, son of... To be fair, this car it's been the longest I've owned it since without doing an upgrade through my dad or whatever. This will be my fourth Honda Accord that this is the fourth Honda Accord that I've owned and driven for a period of time, so it's not that I don't get use out of it, it's just not quite ideal, but okay, yeah, I kinda like that. So yeah, I gotta do that. I mean, obviously I got, credit card, well, only one, student loans, but that's not too bad. I've been paying that off slowly, and it was never a big amount. And then the provincial government, I guess I kind of quote-unquote won the student loan lottery, so they paid off, there was a program where they pay off a chunk of your loan, so they did that. So I'm probably in the last, like, 2 or 3 years at minimum payments of paying that off. I mean, it was only about, it was only 15 grand to begin with, and I've been paying that off already for close to 6 years. Mostly at minimum payments though, so not a lot of progress, but, well, yeah, I guess that's about $1,000 a year, give or take. But, then you gotta figure all the interest, and so, anyways, I don't want to bore you guys with that, but essentially, it'll probably be a while, because, obviously, making sure my credit card is paid off, making sure that, let's see, yeah, making sure that's paid off, making sure I want to get my loan paid off. It's slightly lower priority, but I'd still like to do that pretty soon, like within the next 2 years at least, or for sure. But yeah, it's just there's a few different things I need to spend money on, and they're kind of more important than a computer. So my upgrade's kind of off in the distance, maybe one day. And I mean, of course, as you can probably already tell by me talking about, things like 40K and stuff, I don't limit myself in the sense that I can't have, like, any, like, any expenses outside of bills and stuff like that, because I think that's a really boring way to live. And I mean, I've been at the point where I've lived literally paycheck to paycheck, and honestly, it sucks. And although I'm glad I spent time doing that and kind of learned how to do that, and I know how that is and how that feels, and I'm glad for that, I don't intend to put myself, like, I don't intend to go into that type of situation unless I absolutely have to. So as long as I'm, essentially making money every month or stabilizing, I don't mind spending a little bit on hobbies and stuff like that. Obviously, if things become a problem, then I deal with it then, but for the most part, it's been working out pretty well so far. The biggest problem is that I've been on kind of like a reduced schedule at work, so I've only been working like, I pretty much essentially get a guaranteed 30 hours a week, which is pretty good. Um, I would still prefer my like quote unquote full schedule where I'm getting closer to like 37 and a half plus potential for overtime and stuff like that to kind of boost it up, but it's just not been the way it's been working out. And if my hours get cut, then that's another thing not quite going for me. So not as nice as it could be, but definitely not as bad as it could be either. Just gotta make it through. And like I said, I've been making sure I've been putting aside as much as I can. So even if my hours get cut down to like half what I'm already doing, it's not going to be the end of the world, really. It's going to be annoying and frustrating, but at this point, my biggest kind of thing I'm waiting for is that the warehouse is apparently supposed to be moving soon, and they're going to be moving, like, quote unquote out of town. And by out of town, I mean like 5 minutes out of town, like 5 minutes past where the airport is, and literally like right next to the next door town, which, hey, surprise, surprise, is actually where my parents live. So if they move, then I can go live there for like 6 months to a year, have really cheap rent, have a lot of my other costs covered, like food, or at least covered partially. And then, of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because it's my dad's a mechanic who works at home. My mom's the secretary who works at home. It's still kind of like a hobby farm, so my mom has a horse and a miniature horse, and essentially, I mean, like, I grew up there, so I know everything that needs to be done there. It's, there's work, and there's things that are, I guess you could say, less than convenient, but it would essentially cut down my monthly cost by more than half, and even at a reduced schedule, I'd still be able to put away like close to $1,000 a month, which is pretty nice, So that's kind of what I'm waiting to see how that goes, because it'd be, it wouldn't be the best, year, 6 months of my life, but it would be setting myself up for like the next 5 years kind of deal. So waiting to see if anything comes from that. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. But yeah, so it's just the thing where it's gonna be a while before any major shifts happen in my life, which, is fine. I don't mind that necessarily. It's honestly, in a lot of ways, it's better than the alternative. It's just not ideal. And actually, this kind of bugs me now. Yeah, no, I'm not liking this as much anymore. Let's tweak it. There. Let's bring that down a little, this a little. Oh, let's rotate. Bam. How long have we been going? Oh, actually pretty long. Okay, so rambled a bit. Apologies. Still want to do more. Let's kill that, and then bring this in. Yeah, this little heal thing doesn't really make a lot of sense at this point, honestly, so I think I'm just gonna do that. Bam. Yeah, because I don't want to do the cool kind of wraparound thing that I got going on here. I think it makes more sense here, but I think on the front, this works. This will work out well too. I just gotta kind of get my proportions right. So what I think I want to do is actually make this little cutout smaller. And honestly kind of bring these up a bit more. Yeah, you know what? I like that. I'll probably still bring it down a little bit, just for clearance and potential posing issues for printing stuff. I want it to be kind of bulky, honestly. I kind of think, what if I do something like this? How does that look? See, this feels pretty long, honestly. Yeah, I guess I should have done the whole thing. See, this still feels really thick compared to the front. Let's do the render and see. Hmm. I think this is something I could live with if I just finished designing it, essentially. Because the little left and right toes kind of give it a bit more, like, make the proportions fit a little bit better. I do want to look and see about making the foot, quote unquote, on the back leg skinnier, just to kind of help match what I've got going on the front. But I think that's actually pretty good, all things considered. It needs a bit of cleaning up, and I'm still not sure what I feel about those little side bits I added up. These little guys here. It helps with the proportions and blocking out the shape and overall bulk, but I don't know. I don't know yet. But we're almost there. Actually, I'll do the export and see if it goes through quickly up on Shapeways. Sometimes I should move this actually. No, don't. Okay, good. Yeah, sometimes because it's essentially, it's based on how much is uploaded at any given time. So sometimes, things go really well. Sometimes I'll get like the auto checks back in like minutes, like not even minutes, like 30 seconds. Other times it takes a lot longer. Sometimes it takes like 15, 20 minutes. So let's just do that. And I'm gonna save because I've kind of been forgetting. Alright, let's hop over to the other window that you guys can't see. Whoops, that's not where I meant to go. Upload. Select the file. It's gonna take me a bit to get to it. Alright, so it's being uploaded right now. This will give us like a preliminary idea of what's going on. This is especially handy because even though the auto checks might end up saying that it's not suitable for printing or whatnot, it does give me a good idea of kind of like where the cost is sitting. And right now it's looking pretty good. A bit more than I'd like at this stage. Especially considering I usually try and sell the mechs in larger groups because they're smaller. I might only be able to do, like with the Rapier, a set of 3. I mean, obviously I want to know the exact price turnout based on, until I get, the base on and I do the sprue with 3 of them on there. So, till that. At this point it's looking like, let's see, if it's that much, I need a calculator. My math is terrible. So we're looking at about that much each times 3 plus 2. So it's probably going to be like more in line with the tanks for my proxy war stuff. So like 12, like 11 to $13. I'm going to see how it goes. Shapeways is talking about how things are oriented when they're printed and stuff like that. So there's it's potential that I honestly might go through and redo the sprues on some of my designs, because I noticed in particular for example on my Badger, the little mech, I've noticed that because I've got them kind of built up in a ring, and then they're on the top and bottom of the ring, and they're all facing outwards from the center of the ring. There's one particular facing on each mech that's less than ideal, and because they're all facing different directions, they've kind of got like that bad facing on all different parts of each. Like each Badger is a little bit different in that sense, and I understand it, but it's like if I had really thought about it, I probably would have fixed that going in. But if Shapeways is going to be stepping up their work on orientation and kind of like getting things set up better in that sense, some like the Badger in particular will all go in and kind of quote unquote fix them. But for now, it's still kind of like I'm waiting. I mean, I've still got an order. I mean, like right now, like the biggest thing I've been trying to cut back on is my 3D print orders, because they're honestly kind of expensive with the way our Canadian dollar is right now. It's kind of in the shitter. I mean, it's literally like a 30% price hike to my prints, because I design with essentially USD, or the US currency, in mind, and I do my pricing kind of based on that, because that's going to be my biggest customer, because that's just they're bigger than us up here in Canada. And while in some ways people like myself might consider that unfortunate, it is also the truth, and I don't believe in being ignorant of something and kind of like just hoping it'll go away or be better. I would much rather kind of deal with a shitty situation than just kind of like hope it goes away. So I've just been kind of biting the bullet in that sense. And I mean, like I did, like kind of like I mentioned way back when I was talking about my Shapeways shop, is I did, all things considered, I think pretty well in my first year. From late 2014 to the end of 2015, I did well, no, I just might as well bring it up and look at it in the other screen here. Sorry if this is a little bit boring, but we'll evac out of this right now pretty quick here. Last year I sold 76 items. Now, that's obviously not a lot. I mean, with my markups, that's not a lot of money. Like, it's less than 150 bucks. And of course, I've spent in that year, like, not even counting like the stuff I've done for myself personally, I've probably spent like a good like $600. So again, like not a huge profit machine here, but considering that, especially near the end of the year, I didn't really I got some prints in that I still haven't taken pictures of, and then thus, even though some of those items I've got listed in the shop, obviously they've not sold anything, because it's hard to trust just a 3D render, despite the fact that even though I've already printed it and it turned out good. But so one thing that's kind of one of the things on my get shit done 2016 list is I need to get those items up to date, and get pictures, get them listed properly and all that, and honestly just really push myself to market myself out. I've done a bit on Tumblr, but I mean, I've always had the hardest time like keeping stuff like that like up to date and going around and doing it all, and so it's something I need to work on. But yeah, I mean, essentially it's hard to put in 3D print orders, so like I'm designing the Barracuda right now, and from the looks of things, I'll be like quote unquote done it on next Wednesday, but I probably won't order it for at least a couple more weeks, especially if my hours end up getting cut back. I probably won't be putting in an order at all until like April maybe. Yeah, okay, so I just got the word back that it's ready to order, so that means it turned out good. Let me just look at some cool tools. So yeah, like let's, wait, no, let's not do that. Shoot. Yeah, so everything is green, so that's good. So there's no issues with wall thickness, which is kind of like really the big one when you're doing stuff like this. So that's good. I mean, there's there's nothing really more to say on that sense. It's good. I just need to kind of finish the design, and I know that essentially when I upload it, it'll be good. Just got to get to that point. Alright, so I think I've rambled on enough now. This second part is pretty long at this point. I'm not sure. I mean, I'll find out soon enough, but it feels like it's been a long part 2. Especially considering part 1 was kind of weird, the way kind of the stream had a little bit of a hiccup, but whatever, it's working. So anyways, with all that and lots of rambling, we'll just kind of break it off here. There. Haha, overlays are working. Yes. Alright, so that's it for today. Follow me on Twitter, find me on DeviantArt, Battlecore Knight for both. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Tumblr yet. I mean, I've got like a personal blog I do up there, and I put stuff up there occasionally, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess I just need to push it and go with it, because at some point it's all going to come crashing down if I don't. So anyways, so I'll see you guys on Wednesday. We'll stick to 11 a.m. PST for now. If my hours end up getting cut back and I'm like doing just mornings or something like that, I'll probably push that a bit later, but we'll see. So kind of all up in the air, but for now I'm going to keep this schedule. So Saturday, Wednesday, every Saturday, Wednesday I'm planning for. If something comes up, I'll just won't stream. Luckily, no one really comes out to find me. The best way to find out if I'm not doing a stream, honestly, is to follow me on Twitter, because that's pretty much all I'm using it for so far. So if you actually go there now, you just see there's like 8 tweets where it's just me saying that I'm streaming. So if something does come up and I know in advance that I won't be streaming, I'll be punching it up onto Twitter. So that's kind of the best place to go if you want to know whether or not I'll be around. But until then, I'll see you on Wednesday.